assurance that even after migration, my system is running smoothly? Do I have checklist which gives confidence about the system? So going forward, we will going to answer all these questions so that further no doubts are there when we are going with SAP HANA migration. So testing all different SAP HANA scenarios, when we talk about it, includes all user clients and application server in a manual way, which we know it's not possible. So it should be a good mix of manual and automation. And therefore, an elaborated testing approach, including a selection of representative test cases and automation, is necessary. So moving on to the strategy. Many organizations are going for SAP HANA migration, and a lot of time is spent on coming up with various migration strategy. But what about validation? Like everyone is talking about migration, 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 but no one is talking about like who will going to validate or what should be the best approach to validate whether this SAP HANA migration, the all projects are getting executed successfully or not. And in most of the cases, the functional consultants are performing this job. And we all know that the main focus of any consultant is on their respective module. Then what about the complete business scenarios? That's the question comes to our mind, like who will going to take care of complete business scenarios? So having understood the challenges and demands for testing SAP HANA migration, so there comes the strong need for a professional and elaborated testing approach. And this can be fulfilled by engaging professional test consultant in these activities. We can effectively utilize these functional consultants on their respective strengths. And Techwave testing strategy and approach helps client to perform smooth migration without any disruption. So here we mainly categorize. So now we know that we need to provide a smooth transition, rather smooth migration for the client. Now to achieve that, what should be our strategy? So here we mainly categorized our strategy into three buckets: functional and technical, performance, and end-to-end regression scenarios. So first we will talk about the functional and technical, like what all items we need to take care of when it comes to functional and technical scenarios. So first and foremost thing which we need to do is to finalize the test scope. And to achieve that, we should review and understand business process. And after achieving that, we need to identify priority one and critical business process. We need to check how many number of users are getting affected because of any business process, usage, frequency of business process, and then we need to identify transaction like which might be used rarely, but we cannot afford that transaction should go down. And from technical perspective, we need to identify the custom code, the modification with problematic ABAP statements. Like we know, like some of the ABAP statements can be technically complicated. So the chances of getting issues there are more. So we need to focus on that. Then identification of business process impacted by that particular customer custom code adjustments. And then identification of web services and APIs, security rules, and technically challenged integration. Because there are certain areas, whether it can be like integration between OTC or P2P area or talking about the finance part, there are certain complicated items are there which we need to focus on. So moving on to the performance. So one of the important factor of SAP HANA migration is to know the improvement in terms of performance of the overall system. And to know that, first of all, we need to identify the top 15 transactions, batch jobs, the reports, which is consuming 80% of system load. We need to check the critical transaction from a performance perspective. We need to take care of peak hours and maximum numbers of users during that time. We need to check which custom code or modifications are taking more time, long running process, but they are rarely executed, and how often are they executed. So we need to consider all these points when we come up in designing our test cases. And also we can use transaction codes like ST03N, STAT, ST05 to know more about the performance health of a system. And obviously, no test strategy is complete without regression scenarios in place. And to achieve this, we need to identify the critical business process. And this can be done by having a discussion with the business experts, and then using the test scope identification based on the risks involved in that. We need to select more risk-prone test cases. We need to go with the smart scoping. We need to identify the functionality which is getting affected because of the releases, or might be because of corrections or some other fix. And also we need to identify important business operations implemented via DB views or stored procedure. Actually, if we see, this categorization will help us to cover all the aspects of any SAP HANA migration testing project. We will have different sets of test suites available which cover functional, technical, performance and regression aspects of the project. So that's why we are focusing on this three key main area: functional, performance, regression and technical. So once we have categorized it, then it becomes easy for us to start preparing the test cases, or if any other points which will be definitely related to some client specific, we can take care of it. And generally, we need to perform all these tests before and after migration. And then we need to compare the results, except in the case of new implementation. Because for new implementation, since it's a greenfield project, so we don't really want to do any testing before the project is complete. But in case of purely migration, where the database is getting migrated, it's a good practice to first execute the test cases before the migration and then after migration. I know, like, many of you might be thinking, why to test 2 times? It's probably waste of time, or probably client will not feel so happy, like why you guys are running 2 similar kind of a test cases 2 times. But friends, actually this is important, as this will provide us the data point to discuss that what all issues reported after migration are actually migration issues, or issues got carried forward from old environment. Because normally what happened, the tug of war will start between the migration team and the current support team. The support team will say this issue is related to migration, and the migration team will going to say this issue is an existing issue. This is not related to migration. So it becomes even more important to do the testing twice. Moreover, as a test team, we will be in a better position to share the performance results to differentiate how the system performance is before and after migration. And all these value proposition will provide confidence to client towards the task we have accomplished. And definitely we can utilize this approach based on the project we are working. So like depending upon the client, depending upon the budgets, times, this particular strategy can vary. So now our strategy is ready. Now we have to start implementing it. So first, we are going to discuss about the functional part of it, which is related to core migration part. So the methodology and approach which we should follow, it's like it's been divided into four parts, like first the analysis, then the designing of the test cases, then the preparation, and then finally the execution and preparing a detailed report. So as I said earlier, like we need to be in constant touch with somebody from the business who is actually a business process experts. There might be one, there might be two, but we need to get the knowledge transfer from the different, or rather from a respective business owners. And then we need to list down all the transactions in logical business or testing flow. We need to do the gap analysis, then we need to understand the SAP system. We need to check from a static requirement analysis, like to ensure that it's no unambiguous requirements are there. Then we need to, which is again most important, we need to agree on the test matrix and the mode of communication model. And in the design phase, we will going to prepare the test cases, we will going to prepare the functional test plan, and if definitely, since it's a migration project, we might be having the test cases from the customers, so we can update those test cases, or wherever it's required, we can create a new one. We need to check the automation tool feasibility. We need to collaborate with the client team. And once all these things are ready, we will go and start verifying the reports, interfaces, and the different modules under test. We will just deploy the customized test automation framework, because as I said earlier, it's somehow a bit difficult to complete this migration testing without using automation. And then during when the execution comes, we need to execute all the test cases related to functional and technical, and we need to publish our report on the daily basis, so that whatever gaps are there, we can nullify it. And the key deliverables will going to be the complete knowledge transfer summary, the communication model, the test strategy, different reports that can be test summary report or the defect summary report, and whatever the manual test cases suite we have developed, and the most important traceability matrix. And within Techwave, we have certain enablers, like how we maintain this whole ecosystem in Techwave. We have a sound knowledge management framework. We have a best practices frameworks available, and we have a reverse KT methodology process, and we have expertise in multiple automation tools. And at the end, we publish the dashboard, which is more focused for us from a CIO perspective, and we collaborate on a regular basis with our counterparts. So once the functional and the technical testing is it's done, like then probably we need to just check from the performance perspective as well. These two activities normally go parallels, or only the execution parts get come into picture once the system becomes stable. So again, in this we do the same. We need to understand the critical transactions involved in it, and based on that, we need to design our performance test strategy. We need to configure the performance monitoring tools, and the most important, not only in performance but in all the area, we need to get the sign off from the client on all deliverables. So once the execution is done, we will going to publish the performance metrics report, and we will going to share the details with the customers, the key performance parameter. And as I said earlier, since we are running this test before and after, we will be having two different data points, so that client will feel that okay, we have uh, done the safe probably game changer in going from traditional database to SAP HANA. So again, in this we have our enablers remains the same. We have the smart tools, we have a test methodology, we have a best practices, and we have a sound collaboration and governance system. So this, till now we were talking about the approach from a migration perspective, but what if we have a implementation project? So in this particular approach, we cover functional and performance everything at the same time, because it's a fresh system altogether, and the only difference is that we need to review the business blueprint thoroughly, and then based on that we need to come up with the test cases, and then it should get reviewed from the customer and should get properly signed off from them. And we need to focus more on a traceability matrix, because since it's a new implementation, so our requirements which is coming from the customer should get addressed at each level, whether it's like gathering a functional requirements or creating a technical document till our test cases. And once everything has been done, we just execute all the test cases, and the production, the changes are moved into the production. And again, the deliverables, a couple of deliverables remain same. Rather, I would say the most of the deliverables, like traceability metrics, the test scripts, the resource plan, the test strategy, different metrics, report, enablers. Since we have enablers used across area, so definitely here also we have smart tools, best practices, and strong collaboration and governance. And last, the regression. As I said again earlier, that no testing strategy is complete without a regression. So for regression, we need to do the impact analysis on the new requirements, whatever the new requirements we are getting, and we need to review the existing test cases repository, like to identify tests for critical business scenarios. So based on that, we need to be ready with our regression suite, so that as and when the new requirement comes, we can run these regression suite once the changes been deployed to quality. So what should be the key takeaway? Like, we should know from, we need to identify the business process experts from the client side. We need to identify priority one and critical business process. And then based on the discussion we will going to have with the business process experts, we need to identify like what are the different transactions they are using, whether it's frequently or how important. The chances are probably they are using it very rarely, like once or twice in a month, but that is so critical that they cannot afford that transaction to go down. So we need to make a list of all those transactions, and based on that we need to come up with our test strategy and prepare our test cases around that. And when it comes to technical, which is like if any customization is happening, we need to take care of a complicated integration point and like technically tough transaction. So technically tough transaction means the where a lot of ABAP work is required, or rather a development work is required, and which is complicated enough to build. So if it's complicated and it's technically tough, definitely the chances of getting issues from that areas are more. So we need to focus on that, and definitely we need to focus on the different web services and APIs. And when it comes to a regression test, we need to give focus from our test automation, because we need to start automating scripts as early as possible so that we can minimize the overall testing effort. And when it comes to a performance, we need to identify the top 15 process causing 80% of system load. And this can be done through a couple of transactions available in SAP, like ST03, STAD, ST05, SAT. Or probably we can also again have a discussion with the client, like how much users they are expecting at the peak time, or what should be the different performance parameters. So this comes like why Techwave. So we have a very strong delivery framework which we have designed. If you can see on the left hand side, we have a customer focus, and in the middle we have a validation services goal. So we give preference to any best practices or test methodology. If any customer is already having, we first go with that and we review that thoroughly. And if we see like any gaps are there, and we can provide some valuable feedback, go with the valuable feedback, and if the customer is ready to adopt that, then we'll go ahead and do that. And also we just check if anything is there at the customer side which we can also leverage. So it's like a barter system, it's just take and a give. And within the Techwave, we have a strong process in place. We are having validation services goal set up as, like, we believe in quality, the test effectiveness, test efficiency, how about the effort we are putting. And we have a different processes in place. We have a templates, checklist, and we perform multiple type of functional testing. It can be a system integration, end-to-end. Then the non-functional, we have a different testing tools, expertise in different testing tools, and also we have built in or rather proprietary of a Techwave from a automation framework perspective. And we have a very strong metrics and reporting mechanism. And we do have a strong resource management and deployment. We take a close track on the different resources we are having, like what are the core strengths of them, which resource we can use it for a cross-functional. And based on that, the projects what we are having, we do the forecast management. It's just to maintain the balance between the ongoing projects and the upcoming projects which we are expecting. And we have a strong governance model as well, where we just do the internal audit, and we just keep a check from a utilization perspective. And then we have a executive dashboard. So with this, I come to an end, and I'm ready to take some questions on this. So over to you, Raj.
Yeah, thank you, Ankur. We are now going to begin answering the questions submitted during today's presentation. As a reminder, you can still submit questions through the questions pane in your attendee control panel. Ankur, our first question is related to just the overall presentation, and Martin made some key points that what is this tie back to the SAP HANA in general? What are the key points one should take care with respect to SAP HANA migration testing?
So in this, actually, we need to identify priority one and critical business scenarios. That's the key thing, and we should be clear on the key performance parameter, because for any SAP HANA migration testing project, the performance is a key. So we need to be very clear on the key performance parameter, and also we need to have a very robust regression bucket.
Thank you, Ankur. I have another question from James. This question is one second. Let me read through it. How many SAP HANA migration testing projects Techwave has completed? Do you have any success stories in it?
Yeah, we have completed a couple of projects successfully for our some of the biggest client in US and Europe region, and they are into mainly retail and manufacturing. So we have completed a couple of projects. Yes, Raj, we can probably move into next question.
Yeah. Another question is, what challenges you faced with your past implementations? Will you support only testing or both migration and testing is the other question.
Okay. So from a challenges perspective, like for one of the project, though it was a pure migration project, the client were not having any test cases in place. They were just having a one-liner statement. So we started involving our resources from starting. They built detailed test cases along with automation, and we have pre-built repository of automation scripts over 1000, and which actually helped us to overpower the time restriction. As we know, like in any migration project, or rather any ID project, time is the main constraint. And going back to the next question, like do we support only testing or both? So yes, Techwave support both testing and migration. We have pool of experienced resources from functional and testing space to perform both the activities.
Okay. I have one question from Suresh. He's asking about HANA BW migration development. Any tools you're using? Probably, I think Suresh, you're referring to any tools we use in that HANA BW migration testing.
Yes, like we have multiple automation tools available. We have a couple of commercial tools available, but we have developed in-house automation framework like called Techwave, which is again proprietary of Techwave. And the idea behind is we could have gone for any commercial tools, but the idea here was to mitigate the heavy license fees involved for these commercial tools, because it's an added advantage which we are giving to the customer. So we are having our own automation framework.
Okay. And I have another question from Anil. He's asking what type of testing tools did you use in this experience with respect to, I think, SAP HANA, I believe.
Yeah. So as I said, like earlier, there are a lot of tools available. We have expertise in QTP, which is one of the renowned commercial tools. We have expertise in Auto IT, but we are actually doing more of our testing again from our in-house automation framework, Techwave, because it's again like to mitigate again, and the same thing which I'm repeating again, like just to mitigate the heavy license fees involved for these commercial tools.
Thank you, Ankur. I have one other question from James Kerwin. Asking how long does a typical migration take from analysis to delivery?
It depends, but yes, on an average 6 to 8 months. It actually depends upon the project to project, how complicated the business processes are, or how heavily the particular client is using SAP. It totally depends upon that, but on an average, yes, 6 to 8 months.
Okay. I think I don't have any other questions on that question pane. So thank you, Ankur. And thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. If you have any questions, please contact Ankur or myself, or you can shoot an email that is shown on the screen. Once you leave today's webinar, you will also receive a follow-up email within 24 to 48 hours with a link to today's recording. On behalf of Techwave and our presenters, thank you for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Raj, and thank you all for joining the session. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.